fair warning. If you're trying to make a documentary, try not to show bias. Chase Leoc here with the Blue Futon reviewing Ice Cold Murder, Coffee, and Jessica Wongso. So what's this about? Pretty simple premise. In 2016, there was a murder or a killing in Indonesia about a girl drinking coffee and has cyanide in the coffee, and they think it was the best friend or, best friend from Australia who done it. So do you like this movie? Eh, eh. First off, not a coffee person. I don't know if that has to deal with this review, but just the movie itself is I was entertained the first 30 minutes, and I realized where this movie was going, and I went, yeah, this has an agenda, and they're showing some biases extremely, like, prominently. So when we talk about the positives, I do think it's an interesting case. As a person, yes, I am a person, congratulations. I knew nothing about this case whatsoever, so that's why when Netflix has these new documentaries, I just go, okay, click, let's see what it's about. And this one, it was about, a murder and who done it. And this one, they try to intertwine the Indonesian law and how they think it's unfair for most of these people. But the problem is when reading on Reddit, as well as other documentaries, this one does not show you all the facts. And when you're trying to do a documentary, you need to show the facts. For example, apparently there's something about pants, or they didn't show other things about this Jessica Wongso. No, yeah, Jessica Wongso is the one found guilty. But apparently she has done some suspicious shit that they decided not to show you in this documentary. Do I know all the suspicious shit? No. But when it comes to this documentary, I do think they have the right characters involved, especially the daughter who died, the father, they had that character. They had the lawyers involved. They had some of the justices that were presiding on the case, as well as some of the lawyers, which I'm pretty sure I said lawyers anyway. So they had some good people in it. But when you add these people that are like, justice warriors, or people that have an agenda, and you end the documentary with that, as well as after the credits, you show this like thing about how, colonialism and coffee dealt with this, and how coffee could kill people, and it felt like almost a ad for coffee in Indonesia. It really puts me off. And okay, that's the main thing. A person who knew nothing about the case that watches this, was some shady shit going on? Yes. But that's everywhere you go with some of the witnesses they bring of, like, facial expressions, which is basically all circumstantial evidence about the evidence, which the evidence in this is she showed up early, she ordered the coffee, she did this weird bag thing to hide the coffee, she found the perfect table, if you want to put it that way, where cameras are nowhere placed, that they tried the coffee and the coffee wasn't the right tasting amount of coffee. Yes, there's a lot of hearsay, she said with this, but for me, the biggest thing is Jessica Wongso's attitude. Not her facial expressions, but if she was so much adamant of like, I didn't do this, there was no emotion. I know some people are like, oh, people laugh because, that's their nervousness. There's a difference between, oh shit, I fucked up, ha ha ha, more of like, I might be, in jail for 25 years. This ain't no nervous matter. You need to be like, to the dad, I promise you I didn't do this. Like, whatever you need me to do, I will help you figure out who the murderer was, but I swear to God, I didn't do this. There was none of that. It was just her just being like, and like no crying. And of course, the lawyer's like, oh, she cried at the very end of the trial with no one seeing it. I don't care. You need to at least show different emotions. Like, she was just deadpan. And the biggest red flag also is at the very end where she kind of is like, will anyone know who murdered her? Like, smiley face, I guess we'll never know. And you're just like, that is kind of psychopathic behavior. Like, and apparently in Australia, which they didn't tell us what happened in Australia, where she went to like the mental ward, where she had like 16 or 12 crimes against her about like driving into a nursing home and starting fights. So it's just like stuff like that where if you just watch this, of course you might be like, yeah, the Indonesia law is fucked up, she's safe, or she's innocent, and the law just wants her to the law wants to put her in the dungeon or in the jail time. But then when you look at other stuff that occurred, which the filmmakers decide not to show you, you're just like, why aren't you showing this? Why are you purposely having an agenda? This felt like a Michael Moore movie. This felt like an Al Gore documentary. Anything with John Kerry that you just feel like, yeah, there's a fucking agenda. And I just feel the agenda when watching this documentary through and throughout. So overall, Ice Cold, it's a documentary at best. It is fine with trying to get to know the story, but then when you start getting into the filmmaking's biases and who they interview, and then when you do your own little research, you realize this documentary is hiding something for sure. So Ice Cold, Murder, Coffee, and Jessica Wongso will receive a 2 out of 5 with Futons, which equals that 40%. So what do the critics' news scores gave this one? There's absolutely nothing on Rotten Tomatoes. Books like IMDb has a 6.1. So let's go with the 61%, 40. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One more things, Butontopia. Butons, they have a great day now. Can't watch this today, tomorrow, week from now, month from now, year from now. I love every single freaking one of you. And you know what? Pass. Overall, if you want murder documentaries, this is the one. I would say pass.